So I'm so excited about this, and thank you for joining, because I had this idea to have a global talk, like a very laid back discussion. And as I wrote, if this virus is killing businesses worldwide, I think that we should kill it worldwide as well as businesses, because yeah, and I'm sure that there are so many insights hidden in everybody else is in different countries. So Angela is from New York, right? Then John is from Cleveland. Elena is from Florence, Italy. Mike is from New York. Michelle is from Paris, and Hanif is from London. So, we have a beautiful combination of all countries over here, okay? And that would be so interesting to hear, what you're doing. The number one question that we have for today is, what are you actually doing to during this time, to survive this time? And my name is, by the way, Anastasia Vladichinska. I am, in New York, they called me inspirational customer experience consultant. I don't know what that means, but if they felt inspired, that's good. So I help companies to improve customer service. Then I teach customer service, and then everything. Okay, 80% of everything I know from John DeJulius, who certified me and taught me. So, and I'm so glad that John is here today. Okay, let's see then. I would like to go this way. I would like to present, to show you the people that we have, to present everybody, and then just, very light discussion. What are you doing right now during this time? Okay, so number one, I would like to start with John DeJulius. So he is a customer experience consultant, author of 4 best-selling books, but also he owns John Roberts Spa, a chain of upscale salons, right? Beauty salons in Cleveland. And so John has some great ideas as to what you can do and what they are doing right now to support connections with employees and clients. So John, could you please tell us, several things that you're doing right now? And I've heard some of it. I will, maybe spoil the beans, but I've heard some of it, and I've already implemented this, and it's great. So could you please help us here?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So, we've been taking advantage of this time. I think, listen, whether it's God, fate, Mother Nature, I think we've all been given a gift, personally and professionally. And I think someone was telling us we were out of balance, and we needed to get back to what was most important, right? Human interaction. So all 3 of my businesses, the salons are closed, till further notice. So we've been taking advantage of, now we've had to lay off 150 employees, but they've been, made more than whole by the government in the US, which is a challenge actually, because now they don't want to come back because, in the US, they're getting unemployment plus $600 a week, which in a lot of cases, that's more than they make at work. So it's a challenge, with them that, they don't want to come back. Some of them. So that is a challenge. And then the DeJulius Group, my consulting firm, we've still been operating, and everything's just pivoted virtually. But I will tell you that we've really benefited from this quarantine. And I believe, we're all going to look back for the next 50 years and talk about our lives in 2 ways, BQ and AQ, right? Before quarantine and after quarantine. And when you ask me about my business or my relationships or my kids or where we vacation, well, before quarantine, and then, after quarantine. And so, what I feel is what's going to determine our next 10 years is what we're doing during quarantine. And so I might be one of the few entrepreneurs that really like the quarantine time, because we're reinventing so many things that, shame on us. We should have done 3 years ago, but, no fault of anyone. We were just so busy doing that we couldn't. So, creating new revenue streams, online, improving our marketing, just improving and innovating in so many areas. So a couple of weeks ago when I heard the quarantine might be ending, I got a little nervous. Like I was like, no, we're not ready yet. Right. And I'm so positive that what we're doing in all three of our businesses will make us so much stronger. Fourth quarter of 2020 and 2021 and beyond, that we're going to be in such a better position had we never been forced to take this time out. So, so everything's different. So John Roberts Spa, our communication is constantly with our 150 employees. So we're doing Zoom calls every day, all day with teams. And it's been really good. I mean, I've gotten to know and reconnected with employees that I didn't know ever, and they didn't know me. And, I was just a name. And so we start every call with, everyone has to open up with what's their gift. And at first, 6 weeks ago, that was like bizarre to people. They were like, what do you mean, what's our gift? So there's a gift here. And then when they started really thinking about it, they'd say, we're having dinner together. We're doing the things that we haven't done in years. I'm getting the best workouts in ever. I'm reading more. I'm consuming more. And so it really changed the dynamics and people's perspective. I think we all know what we need to do and avoid to stay healthy right now. But I think checking social media and headline news and talking about it nonstop is an unhealthy addiction. I had a CEO actually tell me that a client, that he went on his mobile devices, his iPad, his computers, and he went to parental controls and blocked himself from checking headline news. He said he couldn't stop it like every 5 minutes. And he said within, 48 hours, his whole perspective just changed. So I think that's important that we teach our employees, and we teach that. I think also as entrepreneurs, we need to control the narrative. And there's several places that our employees and customers can hear stuff, right? Social media, from the media, from the governments, and from their circle of friends, right? And those are all inaccurate and can be fake news. So I think we have to constantly be in front of our employees and customers through videos and talking and letting them hear the narrative. I listened to a good podcast the other day that talked about that employees need to see a finish line, a victory, a clear path. And so it really inspired me. So when we communicated with our teams, I told them what our 30-day, 60, 90, and 6-month plan was, and how confident I was, and this is going to work. And between you and I know that's going to be fluid, and we're going to have to change it. But they needed to hear it. And then to really show them the confidence, I said, I want everyone right now to pick a date at the end of the year in December, and then pick the best restaurant in our city. We're going to go celebrate our comeback victory. And it just changed their whole mood. Like, whoa, we're in the right place. And they needed to hear that they were in the right hands, and that we're going well. And as far as clients, we're doing Zoom calls with them. We're constantly communicating. When I think what we have to avoid is selling, pitching our wares. I think it comes across as very tone deaf. I'm sure I always say the fastest way to get unsubscribed, unfollowed, unconnected, unfriended is, send out e-blast or LinkedIn someone and say, hey, do you need more leads? I mean, it's just so insensitive, right? But be a resource and offer, times, conversations, ideas, an advisor, anything you can. And I'm finding that to be really good for the clients. Really appreciate it, and we've been fortunate in that regard. So I don't know, that's just some of the things that we've been doing that's working really well. Obviously, pivoting our business is huge, being more virtual. in doing things like that. So I don't know.
Good. Yeah, I mean, that's good for a start, and I'm sure that everybody can add on this. Thank you, John. Also, I would like I just saw Emily Song join us, and thank you, Emily, for joining. Emily is from Paris, and she owns a company that sells, if I got it right, it looked to me like you're selling luxury goods, right? And also, okay, let me I think you should have your mic on now.
Hold on. Yeah. Hi, everybody. So my business, I started my business a couple of years ago. Basically, I operate in secondhand luxury goods. It can be a vintage Rolex watch or Hermes watch and Chanel bracelet. So basically what we do is we buy these pieces from individuals or at auction houses or through
Emily, we're losing
and
you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, your connection. Yeah, but your connection is a little bit. So yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so basically, this is my business is to refurbish the second-hand goods and give it a second life. So that is my business, and I had a lot of difficulty because a lot of my customers, they are buying my product for a special occasion, and it's either birthday or a wedding anniversary or a special occasions or the kids were born so parents buying a present for daughters graduation, so and their specific date, but due to the confinement, because I had a problem with the suppliers because Hermes their manufacturing in Switzerland is shut down, so I cannot get my bracelet to replace for the watches, and the atelier is closed, so I can't get the watches like refurbished. We provided this revision service before we sending out to our customers. So that was a challenge. So what we did was to, instead of, normally we offer 1 year guarantee to our customers. So we come up with the solution says, okay, thanks for your patience. We're going to extend a 1 year guarantee to 1 year and 3 months. So to compensate, because I realized my customers or our customers during this special time, they are frustrated, and we have to, to improve the customer relationship, we got to deliver a little bit extra. So in the package, I will have little to make them happy,
Okay, what was that little something in the package? Because we missed it.
It's red hearted, the sugar, it's a little small box of chocolate, that's all.
That's nice though. That's nice. I totally agree that customers are so frustrated everywhere now. Even if you think about grocery stores, which are flourishing right now, right? Everything is great, but still customers are frustrated in those stores. They can't find stuff, or when they do, so I think we are dealing with major frustration on the client's line, right? On the client side. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Emily, sorry.
So the challenge for me is really how to make my customer happy.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's what we are talking about. Yes, right now with our clients, I'm always telling them, okay, think about the ways you can somehow bring that smile. What can you do? And John, do you remember you were recommending to write handwritten cards to your clients?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I think I heard Vern Harnish, growth guru, say the number one thing we should be doing as a leader with employees, vendors, customers, friends, family, we should be tracking video FaceTime minutes. not emails, not calls, not texts. And it's so true. And ever since he said that, that's what we do. We literally, all our managers have to turn in a report, because, doing this with people is so important versus just sending a text, hope you're doing good, or sending an email. I just think it really helps ease that anxiety and lets them know you're there for them. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Also, guys, for those who are here as participants, you can always raise your hand if you have a question. That's fine. We want it to be laid back. It's not like, we are talking and then we are asking you, there's a Q&A time. This is all Q&A. And I also see people, there's somebody from Warsaw here. There's somebody from the States. So good. Thank you so very much for joining. Please feel free to raise your hand or, or write it in a Q&A here. Please do that. Okay, good. Thank you so much, Emily. And I will be coming back to you still, but because this is like, round discussion in rounds. I would like to talk now to Michel, please, because his business sounds like super complicated. And it's not like, a salon or something that we can easily understand. But still, there are challenges, I'm sure. And could you, Michel, tell us more about your business and also what exactly you're doing right now to support those connections with clients?
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. We are a consulting company. We work for major corporate firms. We have 60 clients over €1 billion or $1 billion turnover, sometimes much more than that. And we provide non-public information. We help clients get information about markets, about clients, about competitors. That's not in the press. That's not on Google. It's called intelligence, if you wish, business intelligence. And can be used, for example, when they want to make an acquisition, they want to negotiate. They want to know who are the real decision makers, what are their price expectations, how much they want to sell the firm for. So we help them open markets in regions sometimes where they are closed. We help them win major contracts. So information can be key. Information can really make you take the right decisions and make a lot of money. And work with aerospace, transportation, energy, telecoms, all kinds of, except defense. We're not touching defense.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I know that your business is based in France, but also you're all over the world, right? So how do you, how can you still keep those connections going with clients right now? Or you're full of new orders because of this situation now and you're doing great?
Not at all. First of all, we had some operational challenges because we have existing contracts that we have to finish. And some people had difficulties by being locked down. And for example, one of my employees is a person living in a third world country. And as soon as lockdown was announced, there were riots and her house was burned down and she had to flee to another country and settle down, get a new house, etc. So big disruptions. That's not really in the news, but it's a problem. Big corporations at the beginning, for 1 month, they were just, let's say, in state of shock. You couldn't talk to anyone. They were just dealing with the personal digestion of what happened. And now they are in a state of reacting to that and cutting cash and cutting all projects and cutting expenses. And that will, I suppose, will last a few more weeks. And so what we're doing at the moment is not trying to sell anything to them, just trying to maintain the good relationships, asking them questions about how they are personally and maintaining that a few good relationship and not trying to sell anything at all. And then I think in the next few weeks, time will come when they will need to reorganize and plan the future. Mm-hmm. And then what will happen is really the reorganization of the supply chain and new business models. They're still not ready for that. It will come in a few weeks. And that's what we will propose to them, and we are in state of getting ready to it.
Okay. So, it's interesting. 2 people on this panel have already said do not sell anything during this time. And can I challenge you a little bit? Is that fine?
Yeah, I just want to, I want to be careful with that because
Go ahead.
I'm not saying don't sell.
Okay.
And if people contact you, like, you know, we've been lucky, we've signed some big clients in the past 3 weeks. God bless. But just don't go out with the cold selling, blind selling. Hey, our spring clothing line, you know, yada yada yada. You know, that just seems, and it's less insensitive today than it was a month ago. But a month ago, especially when everyone was scared for their life, didn't know how long, you know, didn't know, you know, family members were going to get sick and die. It just seemed like, oh my God, are you really trying to pitch me your latest product and services? But God bless if someone calls, sell. I just would be careful with that aggressive blind selling that, you know, we all do from time to time.
That's exactly what I thought. It's just that, Angela, you're saying no, you're not agreeing, or is that?
I don't do blind selling, so
Okay.
Yeah. Everything for me is relationship management and relationship establishment.
Okay.
Should I go ahead?
Yeah, please do. Yeah, tell us more. Tell us, you know, your business, and tell us what you're doing right now, because it's not an easy one. Mm-hmm.
So I have an advertising agency with a digital specialty, and the biggest sector that I work in is education, which I thought was fireproof.
Hello.
Okay, all of a sudden education is having difficulties, and the relationships that I would have with my clients are lasting. My longest client now is 20 years.
20 years? Wow.
My second is 6. There's another one about 3 or 4. I get deeply involved in understanding their businesses. So I'm very, very careful about how I acquire new business. And I do a lot of question-based selling. I do a lot of testing and proofing. I recently went through an exercise for someone who asked us to pitch their business, and I just was like, no, I don't think this is for us, because they're pushing expertise that needs to be on the client side. They're trying to push it onto the agency side, and it's an inappropriate role, and it showed naivete on the part of the client, because one of the difficulties with advertising agencies, of course, we lose money in over-servicing, but that's why we like it. We love that part of it. So the first thing that I did when this started for my education clients was I called them with a go, no go list. I sat down, I said, okay, what are they dealing with? They're dealing with students, they're dealing with administration, they're dealing with unknowns, they're dealing with shifting courses onto online. And because one of my clients in particular, the Yale summer session, has a very complicated budget with a lot of moving parts, I just created the least amount of mental work on their part that I could. And I said, here is your go, no go list. Here's what's left. Here's what we can cut. Here's what I don't think you need right now. Is there any of this that you want to continue? And that made it really easy for them. We had a half-hour call, and she was able to just get this part of her, the marketing part of her job off her plate. And that was my role, to help her do that. Now that they're doing online courses and they're directing it toward their own students, they don't need me to advertise to other students. They're able to do that through email because they have those direct contacts. So what I'm doing now in the relationship, other than having, you know, a weekly call to see how they're surviving and how the adaptation is going, is looking at articles that are universal to the education space right now, trying to find things that are very helpful in terms of how do you adapt to a computer, to a virtual course, because they're now having to take 115 actual face-to-face courses and shift them to online, which is by summer, by May 4th,
wow.
by like today, by now.
Okay.
So this was a huge task on their hand. And the last thing they needed from me was me going, how are you? What's new? I just called to see how you are. That's not customer service. My customer service for them is understanding their job, their strain, and that's going, cool. Is there anything I can do here to help take strain off of them? If not, I'm going to shut up and stay out of the way. They know I'm here. They know I love them. and I'm here for them. But I'll like shift to another person on the team that I'll talk to. Maybe, you know, instead of talking to my main contact, I shift to a couple of other people on the team and check in with them. So it helps kind of spread the sense that I'm here for them as a resource. So I see it as a very mentor relationship, and I'm able to provide expertise. And when I can't provide expertise, I stay out of the way, because that's the best way that I can help them at this point.
That's so cool, though. I even noted several things. Helpful articles, that's what I also do to my clients, you know, something global, international, right? Then I also loved how you said that you can go ahead and talk to not the first person, not your main contact, but the other team members. I love that, because usually we are so stuck on that, you know, one person, but then who's actually doing the job, who needs the help right now? I love that idea. Cool, thank you. Okay, now on to Mike. So Mike, what about you? You're all like, I was thinking about you, like seriously, I was thinking, okay, so they, you know, I don't hope, but whatever. I think that you're renting the space on Fifth Avenue. Is that right? Or you have it?
Yeah.
And you're closed, and it's a beauty salon. Like, tell me, what are you doing? How are you surviving this?
So, what we're doing right now, we are focusing more on the social media. We're doing this client connection through Instagram mostly, and so I feel that like there is a lot of speculation, right, about like how the world look like after opening, but I feel that everything is going to be almost same, right? So, and people love to do makeup, people love to go outside, so everything like I feel the beauty business is going to stay. And so regarding to the space, yeah, we're trying to do like some negotiation with our landlord. We have other space in New Jersey as well. So before this pandemic, we almost start second studio in New Jersey. So we have space there too. Yeah, and now we're just focusing on the social media. We're trying to be like we're trying to put more fun. Because like, you know, there is like a lot of really terrible news, and the situation is like really killing people. So and we would like to be connected in and you know, like put more fun, and we're doing like a TikTok, some TikTok videos, some fun stuff. So and people love this kind of connection. And yeah, as I mentioned on our Instagram, like we have 500,000 followers.
I know.
So and like a couple days ago, we met with our team and tried to make and did couple videos, like, you know, a couple fun videos, and customers text us like, wow, like it's I feel it's like it's a great time for to connect with the customers, you know, like to be more present and yeah. So
yeah, I love that idea. Yes, I saw the video. I saw,
yeah,
I mean, the backstage, I guess, but it was like really fun. So you have those ladies who are actually doing your brows, you know, very sophisticated and professional, and now they're dancing. And so I thought it was such a cool idea, because sometimes we really take it too professional, too official, right?
Yeah. And we're tracking, and it's like a lot of great feedback, and people, I feel that people feeling like more connection, you know, to the brand, to the studio, to like to our ladies. And yeah, so I like I feel it's like it's a great time also for us, like as owners, to see like what is missing, which part of the business is missing. So and right now we're doing what we're doing. It's like in terms of we try to like look at for the business model from, you know, from other perspectives, and like to rebuild little bit structure in terms of like communication between teams, and like, for example, right now I have a team, 20 people, 20 freelancers who working in a different part of like a website, and plus storytelling, plus like copywriting, plus the other things. And like a couple years ago, it was like in office, right? So, but now it's like everything online. So it's a cool, and we have a call center as well. So I'm thinking about like, which is like in New Jersey in the office, like actual physical. But now I'm thinking like how to optimize like work and how to make it more efficient and make it online too. So yeah.
Good. Yeah, it will sure go back to this. So in Kyiv right now, they will be reopening salons from starting Monday. So
Yeah,
today I actually had 3 calls, and they are all totally booked. So now I am really concerned about their customer service, because now they're a bit arrogant. You know, like I'm telling you, they're arrogant. They're like, oh, you know what? We're not sure we can book you for tomorrow because we're so, you know. So like a week ago they were crying, and now they're like, oh, we're not sure we can, you know, book you.
Yeah, we're a little bit in a different position. We usually book like 3 weeks in advance, and for the top technician, we usually book like a couple months in advance. So, and this amount of people we trying to transfer to. First it was May, then June, and now like we really like pretty fully booked for next 2 months. So and I'm consistently also talking with my team, and everybody excited. Everybody wants to get back to work.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, it's cool. And plus we take an extra step. Next in the next 2 weeks, we're gonna install UV lights. So in our studio, it's also a great point for the advertisement. And then we can say to our customers, listen, we're super safe. We have UV lights, and plus we have gallons, masks, everything. So
yeah, that will be a huge concern, I'm sure, for a long time. For a long time still.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you, Mike. I'll get back to you. Elena now. So Elena is from Florence, Italy. How are you guys doing over there?
Oh, it's a very good question, because I am working in tourism industry, and for Italy, tourism it's the core business. And now we are about 2 months. Tomorrow will be exactly 2 months when our lockdown it starts. So I'm not so optimistic as you, because I'm deal every day. I used to deal to the owners of different type of property who rent for the tourists, beautiful villas in Tuscany, for example, the owners of the winery, and everybody is closed now and do not understand what will be after. Yes, because nobody know when the borders will be open. And for Italy, about 80% of sales in this area connected with foreigners. Only 20% it's local tourism. So what we are, I'm quite optimistic. Yes, I'm focused totally in the social media. I'm in live in Instagram at least 3-4 times per week. We organize some Italian dinner, aperitivo italiano. We drink Italian wines online with my client. I start virtual excursion. I show different beautiful places in Italy. I even invite people to visit virtually. Some wineries, some vineyards. Yes, the only things I can do to support with connection with my clients, to memorize good travel for people who have been in Italy, have an ideas for future travel, for people who still dream about it. That's all. For Italy, it's really dramatic situation, and I hope very much that it will be some the government will support with touristic industry, because not all the hotels, not all wineries can survive in this situation. For example, and for Italian, it's quite conservative type of running business.
Hmm.
Very conservative, not like United States, not even Ukraine is a very progressive country with high level services. I can tell it for sure after three years in Italy. Yes, for example, our 5-star hotel in the center of the Florence historical place, beautiful Hotel Brunelleschi, proposed some type of voucher. You can pay now €300 for future services in the cost of 400.
Mm-hmm.
It's only type how people can create some cash flow now, because nobody, the city center of Florence is empty. I have been there yesterday or before yesterday. There's no tourists, even no locals. Everything is closed, still closed, and so we are in the social media for 100%.
Yeah, I actually saw your dinners that you're holding. Yeah, that you're doing some Italian dinners online. That was interesting. So, but what do the owners of those vineyards doing? I mean, they're all, how can they sell their vines now? What are they doing?
They can make this, they can send, for example, for some countries. For United States, for example, yes. For Ukraine, Russia, no, it's not possible. Yes, they cannot. Yes, it's some difficulties. Yes, they have some online sales, but it's possible only for big wineries. A lot of business in Italy, the majority of business, it's small family business. Yes, about 80% of business, and with small wineries suffering very much if they did not organize with online sales before for the years. They have only possibility to start something now.
Okay.
And that's all. Yes.
Okay.
For it, really difficult with part of industry.
Yeah.
It's very challenging situation.
But we are all sitting here and only, dreaming about opening, for Italy to open the borders and just to go, but you're not opening, right? That's what they said. They are not opening.
We don't know. We still don't know. I hope that the tourism, even in Europe, will start in the end of the summer.
Okay.
The tourists, I'm working with Russian speaking all around the world, as you understand. I don't know exactly when we can start. I postponed all the organized trip, which has to be in the May, in June. I postponed for the autumn, but I don't know what will be.
Okay, thank you. Hanif is from London, and he owns several businesses. When Mike talked about talking with landlords about property now, negotiations, I thought about Hanif because he owns some properties. So how are you doing this, Hanif? Are you telling all people to pay me, I don't care?
Hello, everybody. Greetings from London. Anastasia, thank you very much to put me in the last, because everybody has said a lot of things, which some of the things I wanted to say as well. But I think that it's easier now for me to make my speech a little shorter. I'll start with John. I think, John, what you said was really right thing about contacting clients and trying to sell everything what is not needed now. And the reason I'm bringing this topic again, because I myself getting tons of messages on emails, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, providing me some services which are not related to even my business at all. Completely out of the blue, they're coming and saying, oh, COVID-19, how can I help your business? You don't know what is my business. You're no direct connection with my business, and you're still offering me. So yes, it's irritating, really, and I just reply those unsubscribe and see if they can behave. So that is really the critical point, not to unnecessarily contact the client for something which A, they don't need now, and B, everything is closed. So even if they need, it is not something which they will consider today or tomorrow. Right now, everybody wants to make sure that they go through this difficult period all around the world. It's not the one country problem. everybody's praying that, we come back to the normal working environment, which is very difficult to say when and how. I think the world will change after, I mean, it has changed already, but it will change permanently after the COVID-19 is finished. And what I mean by permanently is that some of the business model will be adopting the people what they are doing now. For example, working from home. I have one business in Eastern European country where we have around 50 people, and I was paying the office rent only $5,000 a month. But now, since office is not working at all, we just terminated the contract for the lease because landlord refused to give us any break or any discount, uh, which I also don't understand why, but thank God he refused. So that gave me the opportunity to completely cancel the contract, and I move and put everything in the warehouse. And now probably we have decided that we will rent only small space for few people, and rest of the them will work from home. By giving this travel cost, they will save the time for the traveling to the office. We will give them some opportunity, some more incentives, like provide laptop, like good communication skills and things like that. So the world will change after this. Many industries and businesses will adopt the new ideas and new rules of working environment, which is good in a way. And I think that in some way we should thank COVID-19, which will bring completely new world out of once we finish. And about finishing, to be very honest, I personally don't think so that this crisis will finish very quickly. I was reading on the CNN one lady was giving some 5-minute speech. I will forward to Anastasia and then she can forward to everybody else. And she said that it can take years to come back to the normal life, because even if the vaccine will come in a year time, s- supplying the vaccine to the whole world means giving the vaccine to the 7.5 billion people around the world will take years. So it's not the solution for today, tomorrow. And even when I see the lockdown, some countries are really easing the lockdown and coming back to allowing some businesses to open. We will see how that will react in terms of reality. Will the cases will increase, or how the situation will come up? Because in UK, for example, I saw the news that on Sunday they will announce some easing lockdown from Monday, and if the cases will increase again, they will put the strict lockdown again. So this is like a cat and mouse game. We'll see how it develops in next few weeks. That will tell us basically what will the world look like. But currently, really, the situation is really not good for every business. Of course, as Anastasia mentioned, some food business and grocery business are doing very well. Uh, Again, I mean, some of the stores in London, for example, I was walking in one store to buy the sanitizer, which would cost you £1. Now they are putting advertisement 11.5. And I said, what the nonsense, 11 time increase for the sanitizer bottle. Is a small bottle I'm talking about. Okay. So, I mean, we'll see how the situation will develop, but I think we all can pray that we all come out much stronger. What I also learned from my 35 years banking experience, because I worked in a different banks, that every crisis brings the new opportunities. And I'm sure if we are thinking positive, if we keep ourselves much more controlled way, I'm sure we will find the many more opportunities, and we'll all come out very stronger from the crisis. So I wish all of us very best. Now, to answer your question about the property business,
And if just for a second, I'm so sorry, John, do you need to go? Tell me, please, because I know that you have another call, and I don't want to keep you or anybody of you. John, are you fine?
I was just typing you. Thank you. Great job. And it was a pleasure meeting everyone. You guys are really inspiring.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for letting me be a part of this.
Thanks, John. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Take care.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Hanif, I'm
So,
so sorry, but
no problem. No worries,
yeah.
Anastasia. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, and then
So,
also Angela wanted to make a comment on your she wants to add after you something
okay,
that
sure.
inspired her.
So coming back to the property things, right?
Yeah.
couple of tenants came when the lockdown starts and this crisis began. The couple of tenants came to me and said that we can't pay the rent, and obviously I said this is a difficult situation, we understand, so you can stay, and then we will come back to this discussion once the lockdown is finished. That's the one part, right? When the couple of tenants contacted me, I realized that other tenants, I should send them the message. So I have sent the message giving them very clear understanding that, guys, we understand that you have there's a situation is really really bad. If you have a financial problem, please tell us, and we will help you to delay the rent payment or give you some
You
kind of
did it? Like
discount.
you
Yeah, yeah,
initiated?
yeah,
That's so
yeah, we did that,
cool.
and it was, and the really the couple of tenants were really really appreciated. They said that we were thinking to come to you for the discussion, but we did not know how would you react, so thank you very much. And then we found some, a solution which both parties have agreed. And as I mentioned in my other business, where Rendo refused, I was just thinking that he refused and he let 50% of tenants to leave his building. He owns a huge building. And now I'm thinking what he will do after the crisis is over, from where he will find the tenant, how he will come back to this, to even half of the rental value. I mean, these are the people, right? You will never understand some people's mentality and their approach. And I was thinking that when I'm giving the discount to my tenant from my initiative, first of all, I'm protecting my property, that the tenant property will is occupied, and second, they will remember in the next bad times, if something else comes, they will remember me, that this is the guy who gave us the help. Now we have to support him as well. So this is all give and take. So I think that we need to make sure that the people who needs our support, our employees, our clients, our tenants, or whatever the business we are in, we should take the initiative, and we should come to them and offer them our help, rather than waiting for them to come to us. Because see, when they come to you, you would still agree, of course, we all are human beings, but then you lose the opportunity of giving proposal or offer from your side,
Love this.
which is much more, valuable for the client, or for your employees, rather than they come to you and then you agree. So that's my short version. Anastasia, if any questions, Angela, please.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to comment on something you were saying earlier about the shift to the workforce from to being more virtual. And every crisis brings enormous change, of course. And I always remember, Elena, when I came back from a trip in Italy from Monini, which was one of my clients many years ago, in gorgeous Spoleto, and I stopped in the airport at a paper store, and the fellow was telling me they were founded in 1300 or something. I was so amazed. And he said, well, during the plague, because so many people died, there was a lot of clothing left over. There was a lot of linen and cloth, and they were able to make that into paper, which expanded literacy.
Wow.
Which is kind of this,
What?
yeah, which was mind blowing to me. But that's part of what expanded the ability of people to have access to books. And this, I think we've been going through a shift to virtual for a few years. And I've watched it, because I've had an agency for 30 years, and I've come from the traditional to the digital. So I've kind of had to adapt to that. And I've watched the behaviors change over time. And I think one of the things that's fascinating to me is with my younger employees, as they've come in, they have a revulsion to phone conversations. They consider that's a waste of time. All that "how are you" stuff, it just frustrates them. They want to get to the point. They like the control of texting. They like the control of the message that you get when you do that. And so I've been watching from a sociological standpoint how how email is different from texting, is different from a phone call, is different from a Zoom call. And I think that what we're seeing now is an acceleration of that shift. What's going to be interesting is how we start looking at the function of social interaction, and whether or not we create a wall between those two things. Because for an extrovert like me, I want the phone call. I don't love the Zoom stuff because it is so stop and oh, can I speak? There's an awkwardness to the exchange that the technology has not learned to adapt to yet. And there are a lot of there's a neurological word for it, and I can't remember it, but it's about the sense of reading other people in the room. And human beings have an ability, partly through mirror neurons, to imitate one another and form bonds because we mirror each other's behavior in when we're in person with someone. And you can sense how they're feeling, or you mirror their posture, or you mirror their micro expressions. All of these technologies, as great as they are a barrier to that. And so it's going to be interesting to see how we divide up the virtual and the social. I don't know the answer yet, but I just know that we're on an accelerated course, and I worry a little bit about some of the upcoming generations who haven't experienced as much of this personal interaction. I'm very encouraged by the fact that both my children hate taking courses online. They just really miss the personal interaction. So we'll either see an acceleration or a backlash. It's anybody's call.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you. That's an interesting comment. Michelle, I was thinking when you said that you are trying to talk to your clients on a personal level, there's always this discussion, especially in businesses like yours, which is very confidential, right? There's always this discussion, where's the limit? Like, is it okay if your business is so confidential and deals with some, confidential information? Is that all right for that kind of business to go to clients and to talk to them on personal level, or isn't it too much? And I personally have, my own opinion on that, but I would really like to hear yours, because a lot of the time people ask this.
I don't quite understand your question, Anastasia. Could you please reframe it?
Yeah. So, okay, Angela, maybe you can, I think that you got me, so maybe you can, do you know what I mean?
I think what Anastasia is talking about is there has been traditional business behavior has been very formalized, and that is breaking down now that we're doing more of these kind of Zoom calls. We're seeing people's homes, we're seeing their dogs run into the room, or their children.
Children passing.
Exactly. And you see my mother-in-law's books behind me. So there is a more personal development there. I've noticed with a couple of my clients, there's a little more sharing. Is that functional within the bounds of your business, which is so information and privacy based?
Yeah, thank you,
Anastasia.
I agree with what you said, Angela. That basically, with the increasing use of social networks, we're going to see a wider divide. If you want to go into very high-level things and confidential things, you need a level of credibility, a level of, let's say, loyalty to people, some kind of bond. If you have no bond, you can't exchange anything of value. Okay, and this bond is best created by direct meetings. And so that will stay, but it will become rarer. It will become more difficult. For example, plane tickets will multiply by 2 or 3 in price in the next month. Next time we'll be able to take planes, the prices would be skyrocketing, okay, because the airlines will have gone bankrupt. And so it would be in some way the end of mass tourism. And still at high level, people need to meet. For example, in Asia, in Turkey, for example, we have big clients in Turkey. The way you meet high-level people in Turkey, you go and visit them, and you stay 2 or 3 days with them, having breakfast, lunch, dinner, doing a bunch of things. And it's only after 2 or 3 days that you establish the level of let's say, faithfulness, or the level of loyalty that is necessary to get really high-level business done. And on the other hand, of course, we are doing more and more things online. We've been experiencing working online with some employees already like 20 years ago. And because one of my consultants wanted to move over to Marseille and wanted to work there. What we realized is that by working online, the richness and the quality of work slowly decreased. And he was only over time only able to do very standardized things. And we are not able anymore to innovate with him or try new things because the level of understanding was more difficult to reach. And so my impression is that in this new world, we'll have more and more people working at home, more and more online communications, more and more people's work will be standardized and just ready for robotization. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people that are hoping from business salvation from online business, we just see a lot of that potential cutoff by robotization and artificial intelligence and mass data, etc. It's a matter of a few months or even years. All that is ready. Investments are being made already. So I see a wider divide, basically. And high level will stay high level, more expensive, more restricted. And low level will be more massive and in the end, more reduced by robotization.
Michelle, can I comment on that? I think one of the interesting things you said is the degradation of quality of the work over time for the remote worker. And the other piece of that I've found over the years has been these. Because as we've moved to more open offices or more crowded offices where we're renting smaller space and putting more people in them for cost, everyone works on their headphones all day. And when I was coming up in the business, so much of what you learned was from hearing other conversations and listening to other people talk to clients, and that modeling is getting lost. Do you find that exchange and?
We are still, when you look at our brain, like 30% is reptilian brain, just at the top of your spine, something big like the fist is all about reflexes. About nearly 69% is mammal brain, the big cortex, that's a massive volume. And then a thin layer is neocortex, is really what makes us human. So we basically humans at 1, 2, 3%. And all the rest is mammal and reptilian. And we still need to have mammal meetings, like I mean, to sniff out someone, do I like him, does he smell good? I can see, for example, what I cannot see right now in Zoom. When we are face to face, I can see if when people are speaking, whether they're getting redder or more tense in their muscles. You're missing a huge amount of detail that is actually very important cues for communication that are being lost out. And even higher definition will not be a solution for that.
That's interesting. It's interesting how did we land here? Like we started from customer service stuff and now we are on the online AI, everything, but somehow it's connected. And I love this because it's very laid back conversation. Thank you. Hanif wanted to say something.
Yeah, basically, when we were talking about a working from home environment, I just wanted to add one more very, very important aspect of that, which I'm working with my team right now, because you can't force the people to work from home, and you can't take it as a for granted that everybody would agree to work from home, because working from home also means that person must have some kind of dedicated space available at home. There is no disturbance, children running around or cats and dogs. Or one of my friend, right now, since he's working from home, he works in Citibank in London. He was telling me his view, and that really opened up my eyes. He said that when I'm working from home, I was on the conference call on Zoom, and my wife walks in and asking me, "What would you have for the lunch?" And he said, "I'm trying to explain her that I'm on the call," and she wouldn't listen, And then she would again walk in after half an hour. So he said that working from home is really has a disadvantage. So you have to ask the employees to tell you whether can they afford to have the dedicated space in their small. If the person lives in one room apartment, you can't force them to work from home because there's no opportunity for them to concentrate on the work, right? Yeah. So I have created the Excel, for example, and distributed to all my staff and said to fill in this Excel. Can you work from home? Yes, no. If yes, also please provide the details. Do you have the dedicated space? How many people are living in your apartment? How many rooms you have? to help them to take the right decision, rather than if they say yes and you accept that, and then creates the problem at the later stage when they come back and tell you, sorry, I can't do that, it's not comfortable for me, and things like that. Personally, if you ask me myself, I hate working from home. I just simply hate working from home, because I don't feel like when I wake up, I want to, shave. I want to get ready. I want to go out. I want to walk a little bit and then come to the office and have a cup of coffee, chat with the people around me, and then start working. Then I'm more productive. If I'm working from home in pajama, it's not something gives me any motivation to be productive. I'm switching on the TV, or watching some WhatsApp messages, or some friends are sending me video. When I'm in the office, I know that this is my working time. I will not touch any WhatsApp or any Instagram or anything until I'm finished my working day. So I think that we have to be very open and flexible in terms of asking our employees to work from home, rather than imposing our ideas or decisions on them.
That's interesting. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So before I ask my question, yeah, Mike.
Yeah, so I would like to first of all say thank you for Hanif. It's a really great that you work with your tenants and you understand like point of view. In New York, it's really tough to communicate, and I wish that every landlord has some similar view as you are. So yeah, and I would like to add a little bit about like remote work. And so from my point of view, I'm not trying to stuck with the people, right? In terms of like world is open, and there's like a lot of great people who are ready to work, who are willing to work, and as a freelancers, right? And now like everybody's like super distracted with the social media, with like like with the things, and it's really hard to find people who is going to be like really dedicated and do their job. So I had my office, and there's like surveillance cameras, and I saw how they like bring their laptop in the front of computer, and instead of to call to customers, like in a call center, I'm talking about call center, I have a call center, and instead of call to the customers, they just doing something on their laptop, like learning or something else. And so, and my decision was like, okay, so they don't want to work, they don't care about my motivation, they don't care about like fines or anything. So you just consistently change them, and in trying to find like these great people, but it's like it's hard. So, and I changed a little bit like the way how I work, and I'm trying to like now hire more people like as a freelance around the world. And so there is like great people who is like really dedicated, who knows like they go into a co-working space, or they have like a separate space, they know how to work, they have this culture, like as a freelance they can work from home and don't be distracted, right? So, and it's just the matter to find these great people, and you don't really need to stuck with the people with your team, like, okay, so if they can work at home and can organize their space at home, so why you have to keep them? Find somebody else who is like, who is gonna know how to manage time. And in the future, I guess it's gonna be like number one of the skill is like to put a focus and focusing on the work, you know what I mean, like trying to cut this distraction. Yeah, so
it's hard to
that's my
focus.
yeah, that's my view, like, and I suggest just like not stuck with the local people, and just keep searching for the freelance and try to organize teams. So, and from my experience, I have like a really great team, and the people really dedicated, they know what to do. And so I'm really excited.
Okay,
There is
good.
like a lot of ways for communications, and plus for controlling people how they perform their work. In terms of like special, you can create like a special person who is going to be like as a quality team. They're gonna take a look, they're gonna hear like all calls, they're gonna take a look how you replying to the emails, they're gonna they're gonna provide like reports. Somebody who is gonna be really dedicated in terms of like just control the whole team who is working remotely. And so if you don't like the people, how they work, how they reply, or if they don't want to improve, you just cut them and search new person, right? And it's like it's really great. It's really great in terms of freelance. Plus, you're gonna save on taxes too, because you know you have to pay like for each employee some amount of taxes. So
yeah, I think it's different from Angela, before you go, before you ask your question, I was gonna ask Emily also, because she's also in education, right, Emily? Yeah, so have you all switched to online things, or are you on pause?
Actually, teaching. So my every day, my full-time job is as a faculty. I do all finance.
Oh, we can't hear you, Emily. So sorry. There's something wrong with the connection.
Okay, so can you hear me now?
I think yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so actually I'm a faculty at the Parsons Paris, where I teach finance, all finance related classes. And you know, teaching finance is already a challenge, like under normal circumstances. No mention, you have to deliver the finance class online. So the challenge was, how I'm going to, at first, how I'm going to write my formulas, and then I have to download research on the apps, allows me to write formulas, like find a whiteboard, like I have to substitute a whiteboard by, it will find a Apple Pen and download the explain application, so I can write and explain to my student and switch back and forth from my PowerPoint to the white canvas, so I can explain. So that was a challenge. And also we did a lot of we worked a lot with Excel sheet. So yeah, so students, it's very difficult, especially for Parsons students who are more artistic and creative mind. So it's a challenge to teach creative mind finance.
Yeah, that's already a huge challenge. It's interesting though, because I teach at the business school in Kyiv Mohila Business School, and it's interesting because not all the students agreed actually to go online. We have many students who are just postponing their classes until everything goes offline.
Yeah,
they don't want to. Mm-hmm.
Actually, I was chatting with one of the students yesterday, and she's an exchange student from New York, and I asked her, so you next some.
Oops.
I'm thinking about to take my gap year, because it's not sure New York campus will be open. And she said, I don't want to take my final year and graduate and taking all the classes online. And she said, that's not for me. So she's seriously considering take a gap year. And yeah.
Interesting.
So the thing, I think online education is great. Which allows you to learn at your space, at your own rhythm. But what's missing is really, as everybody said, it's the interaction. Because for example, for me as a professor, while I'm delivering my course online, I cannot see the reaction, because sometimes the student, they just mute on you. You don't even see their faces, and you do not have this reaction, right? So teaching is all about, you pivot, you see the reaction in the classroom, and then you adapt your course, the way you deliver your course. But when it's delivered online, you do not have that instant feedback. So that was frustrating. But from the student side, the point of view, you say, okay, now you're working on Excel, and I want to look at the PowerPoint, and you can only share screen with them, right? One screen, and they're like keep chasing after you and keep up with you. So for them, it's also a challenge.
I'm sure. So Michelle or Angela, who goes?
Michelle.
Okay, Michelle, go ahead. We can't hear you. Let me put on you.
Okay, let me unmute myself, because I was trying to save bandwidth by cutting my voice channel. that saves bandwidth for everybody. If everybody keeps the microphones open, then it consumes the bandwidth, and then you have less quality. And so it's a new etiquette, if you wish, of Zoom, of the future world, that when you have Zoom communication like this, you are either slowing down your video or either cutting off your audio until you want to speak. But, I think that will come, it's interesting. I have a question for Angela, because I'm very interested in the education business. And as a father, I have a young kid at home, and because she's at home, I could see the online classes. I don't think that going online was such a big amount of work. It was just recycling old stuff. And I was appalled to see the low quality of what proposed to my child. And I think maybe over the world, there are maybe 1 million teachers of finance, and maybe only like 1% or 2% are really, really top notch. And I'm dreaming of a world where I can, for example, access the super top notch professors on YouTube, the top of the world professors. And I don't want anymore all the common level, if you wish. Huh? And I think time is right for a real upheaval and revolution in the education business. A lot of physical schools are charging a lot with mediocre professors, where if we could have some kind of online platform that would gather the best, you could have the top of the world best accounting professor, the top of the world best professor in corporate finance, whatever. I remember I did an MBA years ago, and an accounting professor was a superstar. He was so funny. Everyone loved his class. And he's probably quite an exception, you know, the 1%. And I wish we could have this possibility of leading our children to the really top star teachers on YouTube, and just dump the existing educational products and proposals that are being offered today that's really mediocre. Mm-hmm. And there was an article in the Daily Mail recently exactly on that topic. And that I'd be very happy to see all these education institutions die because they overcharge people so much for mediocre products. What do you think about that, Angela?
So thank you. I've written on this before, and part of it is the structure. Hi, sweetheart. Online is not online. Your daughter's behind you. Is not necessarily online. So there's something called a MOOC, which is a massive online course, and those have been shown to show huge dropout after 2 classes. You know, there's a trend where people sign on and then they just die, and the only people who succeed with those are highly motivated people. And then you have something like, which is a SPOC, which is a special private online course, and those are the models. Like with Yale Online, when they set it up, they limit the class size to 15. And what they found now is that if you go over 35 students in a class, in an online class, the quality dives, because if you keep it small, just as we are here, we can see each other's faces. We can try and do, as Emily said, we can try and read reactions a little bit. It's a little better. So course design is is better. What's happening right now is you have emergency shifts. So the traditional Yale Online courses, there were 40 to 30, they started with like 10 and they built up to about 30 now. But now, because they had all these on-campus courses that they had to suddenly shift over, they have 115 professors that they're teaching on an emergency basis to do online, which is not the same as designing a course to be taught online. It's simply, here's your head, here's your microphone, go. And so the sophistication is growing. People are getting better at it. My children are very, very well taught by John Green has a wonderful series. You could look at that for your daughter. There's extra credits. There's, I forgot, the John Green one is something extra history. I can't remember the name. But they're wonderful. My daughter listens to the greatest courses on Audible. So she listens to lecture series on Audible, and those are, again, those top professors. But one of the very bizarre conversations I did have with my client was, how does the pricing change? And her comment at this point is, it's not going to change right now. I think that's going to change drastically in the next year or two. We've already seen, as I think Emily was saying, students taking gap years, the price value is going to change a lot. And there's a prediction of about 20% closure of universities in America, partly because so many of them are dependent on foreign students who can't come in right now. But those who are less well endowed are closing at a fairly rapid rate. Even in the last couple of years, we saw this starting, but I read one article that said about 20% of them will close. So the question becomes, will it close into this very discrete top echelon of teachers? You know, why would you listen to your local teacher when you can hear a Yale professor teach the same course? So I think it's going to become more accelerated, more personalized, but we're also going to get access to these great courses, as you said. I know that's off topic, Anastasia. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's a beautiful conversation. Yeah, no, that's good. It's just that I think that we need to wrap up. I hate to interrupt you because it's just interesting how this turned into different discussion. But, it's all about the same, like changes, right? Like changes in the world, changes in this sphere and that sphere. So, yes. So, with that, I would like to thank you so very much for joining this. And I hope you enjoyed it yourselves. I hope that the participants had something, to think about. I don't think we had, answers, but I think that we talked about some very good questions here, from all your perspectives of your businesses. And I'm infinitely grateful that you could join this today. And, Michelle, Angela, Mike, Emily, Elena, Hanif, thank you so very much for joining. And, I wish you all the best with your clients. I wish that when this ends, the clients will appreciate everything you did for them during this time, and they will come back and bring you even more businesses. I hope this will happen, because from what I hear, you're all doing great with your clients right now. So thank you so very much. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Anastasia. Take care.
Thank you so very much. You have a nice evening, afternoon, or whatever you're having. What's that, Michelle? Yeah, bye-bye.
Goodbye, Hanif.
Yeah, thank you.
Goodbye, Anastasia.
Good night. Good night.